We'll get into conditional statements now. So first are if statements. So if statements are executed if the logical operators are true. And remember back to our logical operators before, actually let's define our variables first. Logical operators like b is greater than a, or b is less than a, or there's a few more like b is greater than or equal to a, b is less than or equal to a, and then a is not equal to b. And so let's take b is greater than a. So we're going to make an if statement. If b is greater than a, don't forget the colon, we're going to print this is an if statement. And since this statement is true, whatever is within the if statement will execute, and it will print out this if statement. This is an if statement, and if we change this to this, it wouldn't execute because it is false. Now, if b is greater than a and a is equal to b, we're going to print out this is an if statement. This also works with logical operators, and you'll see that this won't run because one of them is false. So a is not equal to b, but b is greater than a. If you change this to or, it will run since at least one of them is true. Now, if-else statements. Let's do if a is greater than, if a is greater than b, we're going to print out this is an if statement. Else, we're going to print out this is an else statement. Okay. Okay. So these are also else statements. So if the if statement is deemed false, then the code will run the else statement. If the if statement is true, the code within this if statement will run. And since a is not greater than b, then the code will not run the if statement, but instead the else statement, returning this is an else statement. Okay, now, so what if you have more than two conditionals to check for? Well, then you can use the else if statements. So for example, these are going to be else if statements. We're going to take if a is greater than b, we're going to print out this is an if statement. We're going to copy this to save time. Make sure they're not indented within each other. We're going to change this to elif. Elif is just shorthand for else if. We're going to change this to else, and else won't have a condition. Change this to elif. Change this to else. Okay, we're also going to change this condition as well to not equal to. So first, it will check the if condition. It's going to check if a is greater than b. If that's true, it's going to print out this is an if statement. If not, we'll move on to elif. Check this condition. Is b equal to a? And if it is, it's going to print out this is an elif statement. If not, we'll finally move on to the else statement. And since else doesn't have a condition, it will just print out this is an else statement. Since a is not greater than b, but b is not equal to a, it's going to print out this is an elif statement. And you can have multiple of these elif statements, though just make sure that none of them conflict with each other or they don't make any sense, otherwise your code may not run.